All right, so the question is, should I play Daggerheart, or should you play Daggerheart? Obviously, I'm playing Daggerheart, but should you play Daggerheart? Short answer to me is yes, but there are certain things where maybe it might not be quite for you. And we'll kind of go over, I think I had 4 things. Right, so it kind of begins if you're a beginner or if you're seasoned. So if you're like a veteran of TTRPGs, or if this is your first one, I think depending on what games you've played before, one jarring thing for a seasoned like D&D player is no initiative, the free-flowing combat system. It's easy to get used to. It's not that odd. It definitely depends on who you're playing with, but it's not that big of a deal. Is it beginner friendly? Yes, especially for player characters, moderately for game masters. Character building, keeping track of your stuff is super easy, because even if you don't play with the cards, you don't have just tons of abilities. You get 2 when you start, and then 1 per level, so you end with 11. You can only have 5 equipped at a time, so basically you'll never have more than 5 spells or skills. Now some of those spell books may have 3 spells in them. It's really tailored to what you want. So I think like the ease of character building and playing makes it a very nice beginner friendly game. If it's your first TTRPG, I'd say it's a good one to start with. For GMs, the hardest part is having to be very improvisational with Daggerheart, because it's such a free-flowing type of game and the hope and the fear influence so much. That would be the hard part. This isn't a game that you can sit down and plan exactly what people are going to do, because it's not a game I think that would respond well to railroading because of hope and fear. Because there's going to come a point where the hope and fear become inconsequential because you need to hit something. And it's like, you know, I've had, so far in our Daggerheart campaign, I've had them just totally go outside of what I want to do, even without rolling the dice. Like, I'm very, if a player wants to say, hey, let's stop here in this village we first started in and spend the night, sure. Hey, we're staying in the village now. I just have to improv and come up with, you know, what's going on. But it's not unachievable. If you're new, I definitely say you should at least give it a try. All right. So as far as rules go, rule heavy, rule light. This is a rule light game. If you like super strict, crunchy constraints on every aspect, like I've never played, but I think in Pathfinder there is like really crunchy stuff for like climbing. Like it's 5 feet at a time, and based on whether it's a success, fail, critical success, critical fail, it can take a while just to climb up a wall. Whereas in Daggerheart, if you're a climbing character, like if a Simia ranger, you know, someone who's agile and quick, was like, I want to scale this wall. If it's not a flat surface, I'm like, yeah, you don't have to roll, you easily you climb up. Whereas in some of the other systems, it may be like rules, where it's like people just aren't comfortable with that yet. But Daggerheart is rule light. It is meant for you to kind of come up with your own constraints as you go through. Like, hey, how much do you want to take real world physics into this fantasy world you're playing in? It's essentially up to the table and the GM that the table has put their trust in. Roleplay versus gameplay, because that's a big distinction. And I actually saw a video last night where it was he was talking about this thesis this guy wrote back in the 80s, you know, not even 10 years after D&D came out, where he was studying participants of the game, and he back in the 80s, early 80s, classified them into role players and gamers. And so, like, is Daggerheart good for role players or gamers? It is excellent for role players. It's a big part of role playing is what this game is about. Gameplay, though, there's still some fun stuff. There's still some crazy broken combos that you can go for. There's, you're still rolling dice. In fact, with this, proficiency is number of dice you roll. So you can like really get crazy, and you're rolling all sorts of die and doing all sorts of math, and you know, like in Daggerheart they don't use hard distances, they use melee, close, very close, far, very far. Like they use these terms, but there is an equivalent for those terms. So melee is touching. Like if you're on a battle map, melee is touching. Very close is 5 to 10 feet. You know, you say 10. Close is within 30 feet. Far is within 100. Very far is within 300-ish. You know, it's like they have some ways for you to. They have approximations for theater of the mind, of course, but you can take those approximations and put them on a board. Because we, like, when we do big encounters, we play on a battle map. But typically, like a small encounter, I won't break out the map. We'll just theater of the mind it. We're just talking about it. Like in the last episode that we did, which it's been a couple months ago, but in the last episode that we did, there was totally unexpected combat that happened, and we just theater of the mind. I didn't pull up the map, but you know, they were still moving throughout the scene, and like there was no trouble. It worked perfectly. Basically, so for Daggerheart, I think it's really good for one-shots, but you kind of miss out on some of the building, the epic story that the game is kind of centered around. You kind of miss some of that in a one-shot. But still, the fact that the characters are so overpowered and like it's so easy to grasp. Like you could easily do a one-shot with like you could do one-shots with friends that have never played a TTRPG before, and it'd be a great time. So one-shots are good. 2-3 shots, even basically the longer the better, because you get more time to actually engage in what makes this game, like, you know, what makes this game what it is. I think it's really good for 10 to 30 sessions. Because essentially you can go through a whole array of levels. So you could do like, and I guess I'd put it that way, where it's like, if you're doing 4-hour sessions, 10 may be plenty. Because in a 4-hour session, you're doing a bunch. You might level up every session and go 1 to 10. Or if you play shorter games, maybe you do like 30 sessions. But if they're 1 to 2 hours, you have plenty of time to, like, you can level up at a pace that's very rewarding, and it doesn't drag on too long. Now, I don't think it's the best for long-term campaigns, like the longest term, because some people would say 30. That's almost, if you play once a week, that's almost a year. You know, you're getting fairly close to a year at that. It's over half of a year. But like once you start getting into that, like 100, you know, like people that play 50 plus, we'll put it that way. I don't know how. I've never played a game that long. I played little arcs and run a campaign. Don't know how it would work in the long term, but what I could assume is, and there's two sides to it. The long-term games, you will not keep a gamer engaged as well as you can a role player. Because there will come a point where you just have to level everybody. You know, everybody will level up. And once you hit 10, that's all there is right now, unless they come out with an expansion later or something like that. You get 10 levels right now. And, you know, 50 sessions is probably like the max of what I think I would do. Because that's 5 sessions in between each level up. And you can lose the interest of people. Like right now I'm GMing a game of someone, this is their first time to play, and we joke around with the other one because we call him a power gamer, but he seemed to me seems like a player that likes to find those cool combinations that do crazy damage. He wants to be super tanky, but also super fast, but also super strong, and he's like trying to do it, and I'm like, that's cool. That's what these games are about, is freaking, you know, being powerful and playing the game and enjoying it. But like, my advice for long-term campaigns to keep it fresh is to make getting gear another like version of leveling up. Because you have your starter equipment literally you level up to level 2, you can get the next tier of gear. And so it's like, okay, I can go level 1, level 2, boom. Right? We get to level 2. Somewhere between 2 and 3, 3 and 4, you go 2, little bit of gear, 3, little bit of gear, 4, little bit of gear, 5, you're changing tiers now, so you can get new types, like better gear. Doing that and kind of staggering it back and forth will let a long term run longer and let everybody feel like they're still getting rewarded for playing. Because like, that's the thing, is like, you want that progression, you want to level up. What I've tried to do is say, okay, it's been a while since we had a power spike, let me give you some stuff. Hey, it's been a while since we had a power spike and a major event just happened, level up. So we started from level 1 and we're level 6 now, and we've done roughly 20 sessions. Yeah, 20 sessions or so. So right now I'm going at about a rate of every 3 sessions they're leveling up. So by that calculation, level 10 should occur around our 30th session. We'll see how it works out, but trying to keep it where it's in that range of good, not too long, but not short, where we're still getting to have cool stories that are happening and role playing. But in conclusion, should you play Daggerheart? Short answer to me is still yes, but it depends on, you know, there are 4 categories: beginner, seasoned. I think it's okay for both. Rule heavy, rule light. This is a rule light game, so if you like really crunchy, hard restricting rules, Daggerheart may not be for you, but you might still enjoy it. Role player gameplay, definitely a role player's favorite, but it has things that a game player could still enjoy. So when it comes to long term versus short term, I think it's perfect for 1, 2, 3 shots. Just because of how much power characters have, even at level 1. It's simple to play. You could get people who don't play TTRPGs to actually play this game in a one shot, possibly, and them not be confused as hell, and then want to keep playing these types of games. So from 3+ up to 10, I would say it's better, because then you get enough time to actually start building connections and stories. 10 to 30, I think, is where it shines. These not year-long, maybe half a year if you're playing weekly. If you're playing monthly, I mean, that is 3 years for 30 games. But that middle range is where it really shines, because it's long enough to build all these cool connections and make a cool story. It's long, but it's short enough to where leveling up and getting gear, you can just about, every couple of sessions, they're going to be either getting stuff or leveling up. So there's always that progression to come back to. Extremely long games, I don't know if this is going to be the best just because of the 10 levels. But like I said, who knows? They might come out with an expansion pack that gets you to 20 levels. I was thinking like a prestige system would be kind of cool, where they do something where it's like, okay, you get 10 more levels to modify certain stats and modify your cards. Like maybe have allow you to pick 1 through 10 of spell deck or from the domain cards, or upgrade, instead of picking a new card, you can upgrade at level 11, upgrade one of your old cards and add, I don't know, they should make enhanced versions of all the domain cards. Yeah, do more work. But anyway, so yeah, should you play Daggerheart? I think so. But make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.